Hello friends. So today we have another critic, well known, famous, one of the youngest of the romantics, a great friend of John Keats. Death of John Keats inspired him to write At Noise, that elegy. Then you also know he was an atheist. Not exactly an atheist, he was thrown out of the university for writing an article on atheism. Where he was a sworn atheist or not, that we don't know, isn't it? Shelley was a very interesting character. We can see that his friends were all the great romantics were his friends. Lord Byron was his friend, and he had his own ideas. All what you want to know about Shelley, you will get it from T.S. Skylar. Unpremeditated art. But thou never wert, etc. That you will see. Then all that you want to know, in fact, about Shelley is you will find in the T.S. Skylar. Now more of this you will find a defense of poetry. A defense of poetry, not the defense of poetry. Sir Philip Sidney wrote an apology for poetry or the defense of poetry in 1580. And there was a trigger. The trigger was caused by Stephen Gozon, the school of abuse he wrote. So it was in reply to that. And he was defending poetry. Apology means defense. And because by chance he came into contact with John Pietro Pugliano, who spoke spiritedly about horsemanship and so on. So he thought that poor poetry has nobody to defend, and therefore he took up that defense of poetry with a missionary zeal. Now in this case what happens is, here is also a trigger. His friend, he had a friend, Shelley had a friend, and the name of the friend was Thomas Love Peacock. Thomas Love Peacock. So in a magazine piece, he wrote a magazine piece, and that was, he teased and he was joking through its definitions and conclusions about poetry. And he said that poetry has become valueless, he said, and redundant, means not necessary, redundant. And he said that in an age of science and technology, and that intelligent people should give up their literary pursuits. So he said poetry has become useless, valueless, it has no value, it is redundant, it is unnecessary, and intelligent people should give up their pursuit of literary interests, literary pursuits, and put their intelligence to good use. So this is not good use. Literary pursuits is not a good use of your intelligence. And in this essay, it's not a polemical essay. It was a rebuttal, rebuttal. It was a rebuttal. So rebuttal means, it is a legal term, means to say that something is not true. You say, hey, that's not true, that's so. He did not try to defend, so it's a rebuttal. Not a defense. Actually, it is the analysis. The brilliantly written essay, a defense of poetry, by the dramatic is Dryden, sorry. So analysis, it is a beautifully written analysis. It analyzes the very inner essence of poetry. What is in it? The inner dynamics of poetry. See? And then he says, and the reason for its existence. Why should poetry exist? What is the reason for that? And then, so it's all about the inner analysis of poetry, the reason for its existence and its development of and operation on the mind of man. How it develops, how does it operate on the mind of man? That's what he is trying to tell us. So it is about the inner existence, inner dynamics. Not a polemical essay, not a defense, you cannot say it is a defense, not a reply. The poem suggested to him by what he has written is the poems suggested to him by the consideration of the subject itself. That's why we said the analysis of the inner essence of the very inner essence of poetry. Understand? Something came to his mind and that he wrote down. That's all. Means, of course, with his background. To him, consideration of subject itself. There are no rules. He doesn't say these are the rules for writing poetry. No rules for poetry. No aesthetic judgments of his contemporaries. He doesn't say that Keats was like this, or Byron was like this, or Wordsworth was like this. It's nothing like that. So, the nature of that essay you should understand. Not polemical, not a defense. He doesn't say that these are the rules for poetry. He doesn't make any judgments. Judge not for thou shalt not be judged. So he makes no judgment. What comes to his mind of the subject, the inner dynamics of poetry. How it develops. What is the effect of poetry on the mind of man? See, the reason for the existence of poetry. These are the things that he says. What actually happens is that his philosophical assumptions, that's what he finds, his philosophical assumptions about poets and poetry in general. His philosophical assumptions about poets and poetry in general, about the romantic movement in general. So, you can see that the life and works of Shelley exemplify romanticism in both its extremes. He is the life and works exemplify, testimony. The life and works bear eloquent testimony to what romanticism is. Its extremes, the joyous ecstasy of romanticism and the brooding despair of the romanticism. Both the extremes you will find in the life and works of Shelley. How do you pronounce this word? I think it's easy now. You know this. P.B.Shelley. Bish. This word is pronounced as this one. Pronounced as I think you know it, no? But still Bish. P.B.Shelley. That's all. So he died at the age of 29. In a sailing in Italy, he died. In a sailing accident. That's how he died. Tragic. At the age of 29. Such a promising poet and a critic. So, all about romantic movements, general ideas about romantic movement, is joyous ecstasy and is brooding despair. These things you can see in the life and works of Shelley. P.B.Shelley. Now, when you go through that essay, you find about half a dozen plus statements about poetry and poets. This was an introduction. I am not elaborating. Just as you know who, I was just telling you who P.B.Shelley was, P.B.Shelley was, and such a genius, died young, his friends, then the immediate provocation for writing this, his friend Thomas Peacock, he wrote a magazine piece. There is an article where he teased and made fun of these poets and poetry. According to Thomas Peacock, he says that intelligent people should not go after poets and poetry. They should use their intelligence for something useful and something good for the society. So the essay comes in the form of a statement, you can say. It's an analysis. Analysis of the inner existence of poetry. Then why poetry? What are the effects on human beings, the mind of human being, how it develops and things like that. And then in between what I told you is that there is about half a dozen plus, not 12, that's what I said, about 10 statements about poetry. If you go through that now, it becomes easy. You get a view of the whole thing. What is in it? What is in this essay? So I told you it is not a defense essay, it is a kind of a statement, yes. So about poetry and poets, he makes about 10 statements in the essay. The first one is, poetry is indeed something divine. That's it. So that is the first one. We can take this down one by one. First is, he says, poetry is something divine. So only divine spirits. That's why he says to a skylark, bird thou never wert. So you are not a bird, but you have come from heaven. That's the thing. So skylark actually stands for a poet. And then the second statement he makes is that poetry is the record of the best and happiest moments of the happiest and the best minds. Poetry is the record of the best and the happiest moments. See, look at this. Poetry, second one, poetry is the record of the best and happiest moments of the best and happiest minds. Look at this. So poetry is the record of the best and happiest moments of the best and happiest minds. Poetry is emotion recollected in tranquility. Almost equivalent to this. The record, the best moment. Then Wordsworth saw daffodils dancing, the best moment in his life. And Wordsworth was the best poet, the best man, I don't know, best mind he can say. He doesn't say best mind, but mind. And then next one he says that inasmuch as he is a poet, he is the wisest, the happiest and the best. That's about poets, he says. Inasmuch as he is a poet, he means a man is a poet, human being is a poet, he is the happiest, the wisest and the best. So 3 already. Now 7 more. Look at this. So he imputes, he ascribes, you can say, divinity to poets. So he's the best, wisest, best, etc. What does that mean? His mind is such. His mind is such. See? Remember James Joyce speaking, the smithy. That's the smithy. His mind is better, where everything is synthesized. That's what he says. And then the fourth statement he says, a poet participates in the eternal and the infinite. A poet participates. A poet participates in the eternal and infinite. A poet, fourth one, a poet participates in the eternal and the infinite. Same idea you will find in Sir Philip Sidney. Same idea you will find in college and in Shakespeare. Sorry, in the professorial lyrical ballads. Same idea. Eternal participation. Understand? Then poet is the legislator, creator. That's the next point. And fifth statement is poet is the creator and the legislator. Legislator means giving order to chaos. Creator, new, something new. Legislator. But P.B.Shelley says a raid on the inarticulate. Same idea. A raid on the inarticulate. So poetry is the poet, isn't it not? Poet is the creator and the legislator. Something new he brings up. As inspiration. He's inspired. And then next he says, poetry is the mirror which makes beautiful that which is distorted. That's the thing. Now it's about poetry. Poetry is the mirror. Poetry is the mirror which makes beautiful that which is distorted. These are statements that I have culled or taken from the essays. So if you can learn these things by heart, you can quote it. Poetry is the mirror which makes beautiful. Poetry is the mirror which makes beautiful that which is distorted. Again, that order, rhythm and order. Poetry gives rhythm and order. Poetry is ever accompanied with pleasure. So I think you have taken this down. 7. Poetry is ever accompanied with pleasure. Isn't it? This is 7th one. Yes. 7th or 7th. 8. Poetry is ever accompanied with pleasure. So you remember that horse utile et dulce, the same idea. End of fine art is pleasure. Teach and pleasure. Utile et dulce. So poetry is ever accompanied with pleasure. All spirits on which it falls open themselves to receive the wisdom. All spirits, he says that poetry is ever accompanied with pleasure. All spirits on which it falls, all spirits on which it falls opens. Open. All spirits on which it falls open. What will happen then when you open it? Open themselves. To what? To receive the wisdom which is mingled with this delight. Same idea. Open themselves to receive the wisdom mingled with its delight. Same point is repeated. Poetry teaches. And then next statement is poetry ever communicates all the pleasures which are capable of, all the pleasures to men which men are capable to receive. Poetry communicates 9. Poetry communicates all the pleasures which men are capable of receiving. That's the thing. All the pleasures which men are capable of receiving. Understand? And then you have the last, he says that if poetry is If there is no poetry, that is about the negative. If there is no poetry, what will happen? Suppose there is no poetry, then humans will remain human being will remain himself a slave. If there is no poetry, absence of poetry, what will happen is humans will remain slave. Next is 10, I think, isn't it? 10 or 9. Number you can adjust. Sometimes I might have forgot the number. So if no poetry, man remains himself a slave. He remains a slave. No opening, no freedom, nothing of that. Then he goes on to say the two functions of poetical faculty. What are the two functions of poetical faculty? Two functions of poetical faculty. As you can see, most of these ideas we have already discussed in other essays. He says that creates new materials, creates new knowledge, creates new power, and creates new pleasure. Creates materials, creates knowledge, creates pleasure, and creates power. So one of the first function is creates. What does he create? He creates knowledge, material, power. He creates knowledge, material, power, and pleasure. This is one of the functions of. And second function, he says, what is the second function of poetical faculty? That is, he says, arranges everything to a certain rhythm and order. Arranges everything to a certain rhythm and order. Can you see something hidden here? The first poetical faculty creates knowledge, secondary imagination. Secondary imagination in Coleridge, according to Coleridge. And this one fancy, according to Coleridge. Arranging, organizing, that is fancy. Memory, arrangement, organizing in the rhythm and order, and make it what we call beautiful. And make it beautiful. The end is this. So in a sense, if you have gone through Coleridge's primary imagination, secondary imagination, and fancy, what do you find in these statements? All through same thing. That imaginative faculty is everybody's gift. By the very fact that you are a human being, that is primary imagination. You have got that imaginative faculty. Then second is, in its intensity, creating something new. New power, new knowledge, new material, new pleasure. That is secondary imagination. Only poets have got that. That is poetic process, you can see. And then you have got, the next is arrangement, rhythm, order. That is fancy. So you will find all these 3 points here. Plus, we have got clearly stated utilate dulce of hours. Or going back to Aristotle, you will find the end of fine art. What is the end of fine art? The end of fine art is pleasure. So, in defending poetry, in a defense of poetry, because many other people have defended poetry, in a defense of poetry, what P.B.Shelley, a philosopher who had great sympathy for the romantics, the romantic movement, whose life exemplifies the two extremes of romantic movement, joyous ecstasy and brooding despair. According to him, what is poetry, who is a poet, and what is happening in the inner, when you analyze the very inner essence of poetry, what do you find? You find Aristotle there, the voices of Aristotle, Horace, Longinus, Sidney, Sir Philip Sidney, Wordsworth. Of course, he doesn't speak about language, because language, Wordsworth is language now. Yes, Wordsworth, and then you have got Coleridge. Coleridge is very much here present, and Horace is very much here present. So we will see the introduction. I will continue in the next class. So what I have told you just now is only say about poetry. Poetry is it is divine. Poetry is record of the happiest minds, of happiest events, of happiest minds. Poet is the wisest and the best person, and the poet participates in the eternal and the infinite, because remains forever, no, eternal. Writing for posterity. That's the idea of Longinus. Writing for posterity. T.S. Eliot saying. Yes. Then uninfluenced praise, Dryden. Who assesses whether your work is of permanent nature or not? That is the unbiased or uninfluenced posterity. That's what he says. Poet is the creator and the legislator, because he brings in order. Poetry is a liberator. Poetry is the mirror which makes that which is which makes beautiful that which is distorted. Poetry is ever accompanied by pleasure, and every mind that opens, you get it, plenty of it, lavish delight. Poetry ever communicates pleasures to men, and poetry is, if you have no poetry, no literature, then you will remain a slave. So this is a kind of, these are just statements I have culled. Culled means picked at random from the whole essay. So you get an idea about this. So Thomas Peacock, his teachings, this is not an answer. This is in the mind, whatever comes in thoughts about poetry and poets. They have made some statements. Here are the qualities, and in this all we find the influence of all the critics, right from Aristotle up to Dryden. And of course, yes, you find Dr. Johnson also. Order comes in there. Later, that is in the neoclassical. I hope that I don't want to prolong this, because one of the feedback that I get is that my lectures are too long. So I'm going to cut, for the time being, I'm going to cut short the whole thing, and then we'll continue in the next class. Till then, bye. Have a nice day. Enjoy your life.